Carrie Neville-Dean. I'm founder of Vibrant Over 50. I'm a transformation coach for women over 40. I am certified as a health and wellness coach, a trauma-informed manifestation coach, and a practitioner of emotional freedom techniques, which hopefully by the end you'll experience a little bit of. And I am going to throw up my slideshow here. All right, everybody can see that fine? So today, I'm going to be talking about midlife and the nervous system and how the shifts in your nervous system could really shift your relationship quite a bit as well. And I'm going to really focus in on codependency and co-regulation. Now, I want to start by asking you a question. When you first met your partner, did they seem familiar to you at all? Maybe they did, and you weren't quite sure why. It's important to know that we actually don't choose our partners as consciously as we believe we do. We are drawn to that which feels familiar because familiar to our nervous system equals safe. Even when that familiar is unhealthy and wrought with tension, emotional distance, pain, it's still familiar. So we're going to do a little deep dive into your psyche right now, so buckle up. We're going to be talking about the shadow, projection, and the mirror. Your shadow are those parts of you that you were never really able to develop or express. And this is due to early experiences, predominantly in your family dynamics. This is where we learn which traits of ours are safe to express and unsafe. And those that we find are unsafe, those qualities, we shove down into our subconscious, into our shadow. And I'm going to give you a few examples to kind of highlight this. So if when you were young and you cried, maybe your mom told you, you're too sensitive, you're too much, big girls don't cry. So you learn that emotion equals rejection. So you shove that down into your shadow. You learn not to be emotional. Maybe you had a coloring book page and you showed it to your dad and he's like, you colored outside the lines. Well, then you learned that love and approval came with being perfect. So now you shove imperfection down into the shadow. Or maybe you were one of the older siblings of a larger family and you were expected to care for everyone else and neglect your own needs. So you learned that your needs don't matter. Shove that down into the subconscious, into the shadow. And so you will tend to over-identify with certain qualities and then again reject some of those other ones. And this is something we unconsciously really carry throughout our entire lives. But here's the kicker. Moving on to projection, those traits in the shadows, those parts of us, they don't disappear. They live on, and guess where they show up? We project those onto our partners. And that's why they seem so familiar to us. So we might at first admire this, oh, my partner is so strong, so independent, so carefree. But when the veil lifts and reality sets in, which it always does in relationships, we move over to the mirror. Our partners become a mirror and they reflect back to us those parts of us that we were unwilling to confront because they're too painful to confront. So an example of this is if you're one of those people that just take care of everyone, and your partner is good with, just kind of taking care of themselves and putting themselves first, that might trigger you. It might, in a couple different ways, maybe you are envious because deep down you really want to be more like them, but you can't. Oh no, you can't. That's not who I am. Or maybe it might make you resentful and you're triggered in that way. How dare they? I mean, how selfish is it of them to take care of themselves when so much other stuff has to be taken care of? I guess I'll take care of it because that's just who I am. So your partner, in essence, because you have these parts that you identify with and the ones you don't that live on in your partner, in essence, they complete you. And that's where codependency forms. You're now relying on your partner for your worth, for safety, and even for your emotional regulation. So we're going to do a little interactive thing here. I want to see if any of these personality traits resonate with you. First, no, none of these are flaws, but adaptations you made when you were a child to stay safe. So in the chat, you can just put the numbers here, or if you don't identify with these or the opposite, you can just write that in the chat as well. And Jen was nice enough to say she would kind of monitor that for me. So maybe you're the strong one. You're always the person who's there for everyone else, but you reject vulnerability. You don't feel right when other people help you. Maybe you're the caretaker and you reject your own personal needs because your own personal needs are selfish. Maybe you're the peacemaker and you reject healthy aggression. These are the people who really haven't found their voice. And for your women who haven't, take a look if you're a peacemaker, that sometimes can be a thyroid problem too, because that's your voice, that's that chakra. Those perfectionists out there, you reject imperfection. You expect yourself to be perfect, and sometimes you expect other people to be perfect as well. And now for those type A people out there, those controllers, you reject just surrendering. You just don't go with the flow. You have to be certain. You're 5 steps ahead and you know what's going to happen. And when something doesn't happen the way you want, you have an internal or maybe external meltdown. Or maybe you're a people pleaser and you reject boundaries and you reject prioritizing yourself because you might rock the boat. You don't want to be that person. So Jen, is there anything in the chat at all?
So, yep, I see. I put in strong one, number one. And then we get someone who put in 1, 5, and 6. So people are seeing themselves in multiple areas. Another one says 1, 2, 4, 5.
Wow.
Yeah. Another strong one, perfectionist controller. So we're seeing ourselves in a lot of these.
Yeah.
Yep, they're all coming in as multiples.
Yes. And maybe that's also because you're with a partner too. And that might be the reason. But it's important to know that um, these are not flaws. These were adapted when you were young, and you just brought them into your adult life. So thank you for sharing those. I appreciate that. And know that people too. Oh, I've never been through trauma. These are traumas. You colored outside the lines is actually a trauma, a small one, but it's a trauma for a little child. So now when you're in this codependency, there's basically 2 nervous systems operating in survival mode. And when stress hits, one person tends to reach. They want to argue, they want to blame, they want to know. And the other person retreats. They'll withdraw and shut down. Maybe you're seeing that in your relationship too. And in this way, no one is feeling safe. No one's offering what the other one needs. And it's this continual unresolved pattern that keeps coming up and draining your energy. So this is where most couples can do one of 2 things. They can stay stuck in those old patterns where they're trying to fix and manage each other all the time, losing themselves in that dynamic. Or here's the thing, you actually have a choice. You can flip the script. And instead of looking outward and trying to change what's out there, because you've probably figured this out, you cannot change other people. There's only one person you can change, yourself. So you need to look inward. And this is where regulation, nervous system regulation begins. And this is where we can start moving from codependency into co-regulation. So regulating your nervous system and its capacity can beautifully be done through practices like breath work and grounding, yoga, meditation. They're all wonderful. But if you want something sustainable and powerful, you need to start healing those past wounds, those traumas, those limiting beliefs, all these things that are coming up as toxic behavioral patterns. And the only way to do that is to dive into your shadow, dive into those parts that you haven't yet accepted, and start bringing them up and integrating them. And this is what I do with my clients through emotional freedom techniques. It's a very safe and gentle way to address past wounds and memories and be able to bring it up and rewrite the script. And what I want you to know too is that I want you to And then once that happens, if 2 people are actually doing this together in a relationship, working on themselves, this will just automatically bleed over into your relationship. And you'll see that improving as well, because now you're 2 present, grounded people and you're staying connected even when emotion is heightening because we're all allowed to feel emotion. We're human. But there is one warning here. If one person takes this journey in the relationship and the other one doesn't, it could be threatening to them because the structure that you built your relationship on could be dismantling, and it becomes something that could become a problem. But that's a whole nother slideshow, so it's just a warning. And I want you to be able to reframe what a trigger means. A trigger is not something that you should see as just an annoyance. A trigger is actually a message from your subconscious that there's something that needs to be healed. And guess what? Your subconscious is what picked your relationship, your partner in the first place. So your partner is really that messenger for your subconscious. So one day you might actually thank your partner for being a trigger for you. So what I want you to know is that when one partner stays present while the other one is moving through emotion, something really powerful can happen. Your nervous system experiences a new ending to that same old story. You've interrupted the pattern. And that's everything. Now it's not about two people completing each other, but two complete people now catalyzing one another's growth. And I'm going to just take 1 minute to tell you my story. And I call it my journey to consciousness. And it did not come quietly. It came through loss. Less than a year ago, I lost my husband unexpectedly. And when the dust settled and I sat there with myself, I realized that my identity was so enmeshed with him. We were so codependent that I didn't just lose him, I lost so much of who I thought I was. So I made the decision to turn inward. And I did a deep dive into my shadow, into those parts of me that were wounded, into the traumas, into the memories, into more limiting beliefs than I thought one person could actually have. And I am not going to lie, it is brutal. It's painful. But every time I did it and came out on the other side, I came out more whole. I came out more myself. And I realized I wasn't becoming a new person. I was just remembering who I was all this time. It was like coming home. And that's the journey I take my clients through. So, the one thing I want you to understand is you don't have to wait for your life to turn upside down. You can do that consciously now. You can take this road right now. And if you would like to learn more about me or work with me, this is the QR code to my website. I have a free discovery call, and we can see if we're a good fit. You can just hop on there and book a call there. And if you want to learn more about tapping, I have a video on that. But I want to thank all of you for your attention.